Hey, so it's Jim Powell. Just finished the Freakonomics podcast on the Folly of Predictions. The podcast was talking about basically how terrible we are at making predictions. It's in our human nature to try to predict the future. From an economist standpoint, we're incentivized to make predictions. That's why on television you have all these pundits who all they do is just make wild predictions, and the reason why they typically make wild predictions is because that's what pays. If you predict the big one, then you're, considered more valuable than the person who doesn't predict the big one. Of course, the example they used primarily was the massive market collapse in 2008. So all the people that did predict that, want to keep reinforcing that. They make a good point, though, that no one ever points out the times that you're wrong. So we have, because we have no one keeping people accountable to making predictions and to keeping them within, a realm of realistic, probabilities, instead of just making wild guesses. That's just the reason for the market and the reason for the way things are on television and that kind of thing, which is an interesting to think about. I did like at the end they pointed out that if you really wanted to put your money where your mouth is, they referred to the futures markets as probably the best way to kind of control or to really judge to really, gauge the future, because you have people then who are literally putting money on what they predict will happen, and if you don't guess correctly, then you lose money. So they say it's a much better gauge in terms of predicting the future. Of course, it got shut down a lot of times. I think they wanted to do it for like the Middle East, to figure out what would happen in the Middle East. And it got shut down because it was basically people were predicting terror threats and things like that. They mentioned the website. I have to go find it. It's obviously it's not in the U.S., but you can pretty much basically bet on anything that will happen in the future. So it was a good topic, especially since I come from. I basically get paid to predict the future as well. I'm not as much of an pundit as I am a statistician. So, of course, anytime I make a prediction, I try to use data to base that on statistical process controls. So there's going to be an upper and lower control limit, which has a standard deviation of error. So I can tell you typically with 95% confidence where the output's going to fall within the next X period. And people tend to forget that. They always look at the median line and just assume that's where you're going to be, if you're on target or not. But really, they fail to look at the upper and lower control limits, which exist because of the fact that there are random variables that we can't account for, and we can't perfectly predict the future. If we, from a statistician standpoint, in order to predict the future, we have to basically, and to have a higher confidence level, you have to have a larger, greater variance from your mean, or from what you're predicting. So, but I do like the idea that we should get paid based upon how accurate we are in our predictions. Man, that would so make me rethink my career plan. But it was a good topic. He also refers to another book that they did a study to figure out how accurate all these political thinkers were in predicting the future of the world, basically. It was completely anonymous, so they wouldn't get in trouble for their poor predictions, and it turns out these experts really were poor at predicting the future. So just be aware of that whenever you listen to the pundits on TV. Thanks.